Hello, good evening. Live from our studio here in Kokomlemle, Accra, this is Joy News Prime. We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125, and around the world on myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Coming up this hour, New Patriotic Party supporters mass up at the NIB headquarters demanding the release of Alfred Ababio Kumi, who was picked up from his home early this morning. Also, sanitary restored at Seko New Plan bus stop after second decongestion exercise, and Accra Metropolitan Assembly's promise to deploy 24-hour security to keep sanity. We have details as NADMO distills 17 major drains in Greater Kumasi metropolis to avert flooding. Also, 5 miscarriages, now a mother of 3. We'll tell you the inspiring journey of Jehovah Adom Bading, who balances multiple responsibilities and serves as a pillar for others. Is our story for today's series on celebrating motherhood. We'll be settling for details, here on the Joy News Prime. It's brought to you by Malatu and Kalipo. But for now, let's cross over to Kumasi, where Otumfuo is, organizing an event to really honor our brothers and sisters in Kumasi there. And there you have it, Otumfuo himself coming into the auditorium to some bowing from the audience there. Otumfuo said to the second as taking his position. He's about to say, and we'll be we'll be taking you live to the auditorium for the live feed of this particular, event. All of these and more here on Joy News Prime. Remember, we are a home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Thanks for joining us. Lawyers of Bernard Entwibo Osiako say they are prepared to produce the Ashanti Regional MPP chairman before the National Investigations Bureau and the Ghana Police Service on Monday. They indicate an agreement had been reached earlier between the politician and the police before an attempt to search his house on Friday. Lead counsel Adom Apia says the attempt to search and arrest Chairman Wontumi ahead of the meeting was in bad faith. Nana Yaojima was at the residence of the MPP chair when the NIB and police attempted to search the home, and has come through with this report.
Yeah, I stand in front of the home of Chairman Bernard Entwibo Osiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, who happens to be the NPP chair in the Ashanti region. This morning, national security operatives and police personnel within the Ashanti region were here at the house. They came here with a paper which is believed to be a search warrant. They tried getting access into the house of Chairman Bernard Entwibo Osiako, but they were not successful. They tried to fly a drone over the home of Chairman Entwibo Osiako. In the attempt, the drone fell, and the personal security of Chairman Wontumi covered the drone. It turned into an argument between the national security operatives and the legal representatives of the NPP within the Ashanti region. It was later resolved. Here is lawyer William Kusi, who happens to be a member of the legal team for the NPP.
So Chairman Wontumi also has his own security. Okay. If a strange drone flies over his house, he can disable it. So when it went past, it hit one of the flowers, it fell down, the security guy covered it. And so the presumption was that it's been disabled or damaged. It wasn't like that. It was disabled from flying by the stone. Fortunately, when we went in and brought the drone, you can have the picture, it's working. So there's no issue about it. He was only defending himself. It could have been a bomb. You remember what happened at Burkina Faso lately? So drones can also shoot.
Subsequently, an agreement was reached between the lawyers of Chairman Bernard Entwibo Osiako and the national security operatives. The agreement is that the legal representatives will see to it that Bernard Entwibo Osiako is brought to the NIB headquarters on Monday. Now, this is the argument that was put forth by lawyer Adom Apia, who happens to be the secretary of the NPP within the Ashanti region.
The way we handled power tells the maturity of in each country. If you want to, in Ghana's balance, I'll show you where power lies. That's why even today is Friday. And if they had been able to, what would have been the results? It means it is until Monday that will be taken to court.
So you think that this was being done in bad faith?
That is the construction I'll put on it. That is the construction I'll put on it. I've worked with the judicial system for the past 17 years. And when an arresting officer is interested in arresting you on Fridays, we know we know the meaning. And you do also know the meaning. Do our court sit on Saturdays? But if you mean well, you arrest him in any day. You arrest him on any day. If you mean well, the following day or that day, you send him to court.
So where do we go from here?
We are given notice to report on Monday, and we will do that. We are law-abiding citizens. The manner and the way it was trying to be executed was a problem for me.
As you can see, a lot of supporters of the NPP within the Ashanti region made their way to the premises of Bernard Entwibo Osiakon, and they were all here in solidarity with the NPP chairman. As you can see, the security here have been taken over by private security men of Bernard Entwibo Osiakon, who happens to be the chairman of the NPP in the Ashanti region. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as and when they happen. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Well, in a related development, supporters of the opposition New Patriotic Party have massed up at the headquarters of the National Investigation Bureau, demanding the release of Alfred Ababi Okumi, who was picked up from his home early this morning. Mr. Okumi has been charged with publication of false information in relation to a petition he claimed to have served the presidency, asking for the dissolution of the committee investigating the Chief Justice. My colleague Kenneth Jesse has spent some time at the NIB headquarters and joins me now with some details. Kenneth, earlier we knew that he has not been released, but has there been any update on that?
Right, so we're currently at the National Security Office at Kaokudi. Well, as of now, we don't know whether he will be granted bail or not, because earlier the lawyers for Adenta Kumi told us that their client had not been granted bail yet, and he's being charged with the publication of falsehood. Earlier, we had the mother of Adenta Kumi here. We also had some friends, families, and supporters here to support him. But the rain started falling, and it appears all of them have left the premises as we speak now. There is no supporter here to throw their weight behind Adenta Kumi. And of course, it's past 7 p.m. So the indication is that he's likely to spend this weekend behind national security bars. So as you can see here, there is no activity going on whatsoever. But inside there, the lawyer, the lead counsel, we've not seen him come out yet. He's still in there. But other lawyers have left the premises, and they were seeking for bail for their clients. And as I've mentioned earlier, we do not have any indication as to whether or not the bail application has been granted after he was charged with a publication of falsehood. The General Secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong Kodia, was here earlier, who said that he was displeased with how Adenta Kumi has been treated so far. The minority leader, Alexander Afenyomakin, also did indicate that they're not happy with the Rambo style, quote unquote, how he was arrested. So it is very calm here. No person in sight. Only vehicles are currently moving. The rain is falling. The people were here until the rain started falling. We had the youth organizer, Salam Mustafa. We also had some executives from Adenta and the region, and of course some national executives who also came here to solidarize with Adenta Kumi. But as we speak now, we have no indication whether he's going to be released or not, and he's still in that particular building that you see behind me.
All right, Kenneth, thank you very much. But time for us now to cross over to Kumasi, where Otumfuo Osei Tutu the second Asantene is organizing an event to honor the people who have delivered some good works in the arts industry. Let's take you now to Kumasi.
Of creative bliss. This was when the British Museum and the Victoria and Albert Museum returned the 200-year-old Ashanti gold and silver regalia, looted from Kumasi, and which led to the exhibition Homecoming, Adversity, and Commemoration. If artists should be engaged through awards for their most exotic works and acquisition for the new contemporary gallery, which is here, that Otumfuo has recently built, it was thought that the industrial leaders should be acknowledged first. It was not difficult to do so by the jury and with your endorsement as private collectors with Lady Julia. Surprisingly, these recipients were also delightedly surprised of their further glories. They have traveled from across the country to be here, and with families who live in England, the United States, and over 70 others from our national capital, Accra, the Volta region, as well as the Upper East region. The inaugural recipients are upper-class artists who are friends, love each other, and some say they are also wealthy. It is perhaps the first time in decades of their gathering. An art professor at Yale University in the US told me last week that after today, it will be difficult to get these men of the world together again. The other delight is that the new museum you will soon unveil, Otumfuo, will be the first in the country to collectively have their handmade works. A wrapping sculpture decoration of the interior walls with fine woods of El Anachi's signature installation of fame. It is similar to the draping wall sculpture corridor of the 2007 Venice Biennale that took the world by storm. There are Atudilaki's early 1970s paintings, as well as Abladi Glover's oil ones. Ni-Ou's commemorative works, Peggy Appiah's 80-year-old collection of gold ways, their proverbial meanings and of fine art. Of Kwame Akoto, better known as Almighty Arts, and Nana Opoku Amponsa, all coming together in different ways and stories. Not least are the architectural stereotypes of the Serugu Women's Organization for Poetry and Art, and of course, the pioneer keeper, Frances Adibola, daughter of Kumasi's famous resident jurist, Samuel Okai Kwashi Aidan, who your uncle, Prempeh II Otumfuo, made the first president of the Ashanti Cultural Society. Of the 10 recipients, 8 are here. Peggy Appiah is gone to the other world, but represented by the daughter, Adwoa Appiah. Frances Adimola is 97, and of course could not come, but a granddaughter is here. The Menchia Palace Museum's new acquisitions of their artworks and others could be quantified to over $400,000. When this part of the ceremony is over, we will see 14 of them at the improvised corner gallery before we go to the new museum with them. These include a 30-year-old painting and only one of a sitting recently acquired by Otumfuo of his brother, Opokuwari II, as well as 2 works from artists in Seychelles. Academics of the Faculty of Art at KNUST are very proud when one talks to them. Not very long ago, the New York Times named it as among one of the most influential art institutions in the world. That is, if we're talking of 100 most influential art schools in the world. They attribute this largely to what some of the recipients who were once students, became professors and practitioners, have done over the years and with others. In the last year, and as you desired, Otumfuo, new growth patterns are with us. A new research department has been created with a consultant director of the Menchia Palace Museum, Ama de Graaf Ekins, who is a visiting professor at the Department of Methodology, the London School of Economics, and previously a British Academic Global Professor and a Fellow of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. An associate of this new creation is a historian, Professor David Owusu-Ansah, who was a Lester Martin Fellow at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem and is now with James Madison University in the US. He's a known historian of Nsumankwa with a biographical interest in Otumfuo Osei, a young Dutch specialist on female legal authority in Asante, Pauline Basils, is also with this team, which has a permanent staff researcher, Dr. Emmanuel Osei. We have also had a technical advisor from the KNUST, Professor Edwin Bojawa, on issues of object repairs and textile preservation. He recently worked on De Lackey's 1970 artworks for us. There is a vibrant collection department you surprisingly visited at work last week. From an early modest collection of 500 since the museum's establishment in 1995, it has grown to over 3,500 in the last 25 years, and in growth measurement, at least 20% per annum in the last 3 years. After the major structural reforms, recruitment came to an end this week for the business and financial development, which will also ensure our effective international development cooperation goals. With today's event, we have worked with UNESCO, representative in Ghana, and with staff, led by Mr. Edmond Okala, including an artist who has helped with the endowment that we plan to have. We have also signed an MOU with Justice and Repair of the United States, which receives its funding support from the MacArthur Foundation in Chicago. They will support our international advocacy and have collaborations in this and other editions of the award. Another externality has been with the National Institutes of Culture, Heritage, and the Arts of the Republic of Seychelles. In March, we signed an MOU here with a 2-member delegation, and they are back as a delegation of 3. God willing, your 10 inaugural recipients will next year officially be in the Republic of Seychelles for a major exhibition of their lifetime works, which will also filter through the major island of Mauritius and others of the West Indian Ocean neighborhood. This is part of the signed MOU with the National Institutes of Culture, Heritage, and the Arts of that country as we seek a breaking of cultural barriers. The museum also collaborated with Joy News to produce the television series Our Masters, Our Old Masters, if we should qualify it, which celebrate our distinguished artists this evening. It will be shown on television on Sunday and on 5 other occasions, according to the company, before the year ends, and partly as their contribution to the Old Masters. It will be on YouTube of UNESCO, Seychelles Television, and elsewhere. We would like to thank all of you who participated in this, of the younger artists who painted the masters we saw at the entrance to this auditorium, those who have served as art and music consultants, and of the weary travelers that some of you have become. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mr. Ivo Ajimandia, Director of the Mensah Palace Museum. Once again, a round of applause for him. That's my elder brother, you know. We are all from Seychelles. Put your hands together for him. So, we have some VVVIPs in here who've braced the odds to make it all the way to Kumasi, to Asante, to the land that flows with milk and honey, to the land that has the 16th occupant of the golden stool, who's bringing modernity to leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause one more time for His Majesty the King. And to our special guest, I start with Abenayo Wale Eden and wife Adjoa Apia, Finance Minister for the Republic of Nigeria. Also in the building, we have His Excellency Tong Defa, Embassy of the People's Republic of China. And then we have His Excellency Juliet Byrne Sutherland, Barbados High Commissioner in Embassy of Barbados. For the young ones, that's the hometown of Rihanna, huh? Rihanna's hometown, Barbados. And then Mr. Jackson Ngabonzinza, and representative from Rwanda. Put your hands together for them. And then we have the people from my country, Peter Schmidt van Gelder, Deputy Head of Missions, European Union. Put your hands together for him. And then we have Miss Aura Rossi, Country Representative, World Food Program, UNESCO. We also have my own Miss Dawn Sutherland, Executive Director, Office of the Bahamas High Commissioner to Ghana. She vacated her big residence in Los Angeles, California, to relocate to Kumasi. And when she came to Kumasi, she has built schools, hospitals, and she's taking care of all the homeless kids around her vicinity at Atasumanso. Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Dawn Sutherland, please can we see you because I know about this. And then Raquel Duku, founder and CEO of Black Curriculum Lavinas Net UK. We also have Pamela Bassa, Head of Partnerships and Diaspora Relationship, British High Commission. Mr. Edmond Okala, UNESCO Country Representative. Justice and Repair Delegation, UK and the USA Justice and Repair Foundation, the rep. Mr. Ren Ke, Embassy of the People's Republic of China. Mr. Lemingo Zhao, Embassy of the People's Republic of China. Miss Karen Clark, artist from Virginia, Office of the Bahamas High Commissioner to Ghana. This is not her first time to Ghana. I've counted about 3 times of her being in Ghana and doing benevolent work for all the people living in the Ashanti region in Ghana. Thanks so much and welcome to Kumasi, Madam Karen Clark from the United States. Michael McMensa, Marketing Director, AI Diesel Limited, or A1 Diesel Limited, Mark Mensa. Representatives of the Asante Professionals Association, my people. Honorable Dr. Amakohini, Ashanti Regional Minister, I'm sure he's being represented by the Mayor, Honorable Richard O. Bwedi, Kumasi Mayor. I'm happy that he's doing it for the press because, I mean, now we have a pressman. Those of us who talk so much in the seat of the mayor, let's see what he can do. And then Honorable Kojom Pianim, former Chief of Staff, Ghana, under President Kufuor. Anyokama Lubi Akwara, the first, Paramount Queen of Sirigu. Mr. Akonko Akurugutia, Representative Paramount Chief of Sirigu. Professor Rita Akosia Dixon, Vice Chancellor, KNUSC Kumasi. And for your information, the Chancellor of KNUSC is His Majesty the King Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. And then Professor Frederick Kwakusafo, Vice Chancellor, Apiamenka University Kumasi. And then we have Professor Samuel Kofi Afrani, Vice Chancellor, Christian Service University. And then Professor Kwabena Ekrang Parry, University of Education, Winneba. And then Dr. Kwabena Dako Ekwamwa, Ho Technical University. Professor Amma de Graft Aikens, University of Ghana, Legon. Mr. Anthony Jim Fuga, Fiato of Anyako, Woto. Mr. Daniel Amblalo, Executive Director of EPA. And finally, Mr. Azu Nwabu, former Director, Site Museum, South Africa. Put your hands together for all these dignitaries who've made it all the way to Kumasi and to the palace, Menshia. And with that said, we're going for our poetry recital by Nana Asase.
When a child is called before his elders, he dare not name names or call titles lest he misses one and be made to pay a fine. And so, Your Majesty, I salute you. The beard is the broom with which our elders gather wisdom. Our elders rinse their beards in the dew to lose the pigment of youth. But when you meet an elder who totes no beard, he might have picked all of life's experiences. I crack my nuts in the knees of the elders, and so I know the sound of a hollow bone. I salute you, my elders. Revered grey beards, backs without which we have no front, tongues without which we have no song, fire without which we have nothing to serve the rest of the clan. It is by no mistake that we sit at the center of the world, and we sit in the El Dorado that the explorers missed. Welcome to this place of gold. Where in the beginning, after he said, let there be light, and we served water for all the purposes of washing your hands of all the sins you might have committed, washing your feet of the traveler's dust, washing your brow of the traveler's heat, we offered water to quench your thirst, not your thirst of water itself, for every traveler is indeed in search of knowledge. Water to quench your knowledge. Welcome to this place. The world could not count our steps, and so they chose to call it dance. Welcome to this place where we beat our chest because our chests are as good a drum as any animal skin could ever be. And I am simply a child learning the ropes of the world and the ways of my people. I am a lonely dreamer traveling to distant homes to nurse my germinating journeys and to seed my adventures as fruit for my daring. I remain the visible joys of a breezy day being swung by a joyous fruit, and I remain the hefty tongue of conscience awaiting the next eternity to speak light to this chaos of the world. And I am proud to be a son of this land, seeing that my people have chosen to learn to celebrate our heroes while they yet live. To celebrate our ancestors, for they have been invoked too many times, they hardly have time to be dead. It is time that we name those who are alive and hail them. You see, obi ampabo frabonia wo, and so obi abesumani bi. And so you see, they say the cock that crows to wake up the whole neighborhood belongs to one household. And so when a child has achieved greatness, finally everybody wants to be affiliated with him. Welcome to this place where we make our own rain, and then we plant our seeds, and then we ensure we have a bumper harvest. We turn around to celebrate, for indeed it is sad that the men who break their backs to carry the grains home be denied a mouthful, and so to place it on the burden of the crown. The burdens of a great vision weigh the shoulders of the mind, my people. And so tonight we gather to celebrate the crown. The crown that carries weight. Nansumakra, ukre tumi mane yefe, emane ye akono. If you say, to me, esua ehudo say, that chibi, yenina ye babe senkwa, hina na ebe ka yen ho asem. Inti, I will say, yedi yensa isi wase. Say, odewo adum yen impreno, obesha ye menti. Some things are only said in the mother tongue. And so you see, when the head has learned to carry weight, it takes the neck to hold it in place. But when the neck has been held in place firmly on our shoulders, nobody really talks about the burden that needs to be borne from one point to the other. Tonight we gather to celebrate amazing talent. They say we will cross 7 rivers of life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so when you are at 10, you have weight. What be drew, what you drew, a bone, to drew. Tonight we celebrate 10 of our amazing people. 10. Put our fingers together. 10 exceptional talents that the world cannot contain. My people, we have come on a good matter that is short. And so in celebrating greatness, I choose to wear black. This place where they call black, darkness is the only backdrop against which light can be seen. Darkness is the only backdrop against which gold can be seen. Our gold is not stashed in votes, my people. Our gold is right here in our midst. Our gold is the amazing things that these fantastic people will do so that young ones like us will carry their legacies in our knees so that as far as our legs can carry us, our tongues can tell these stories. Say, moye insen na ho se, moye no mu inchirima ebisua dia to yekotodwem dia kan dachi asem. Wokranka wano bete. Frame na nasase, or mama kwenje bi wofase. I am the writer king who sips communion wine from the calabash. Tonight I came to pour libation, not with drink. Tonight I came to pour libation to you and you and you, all of you who keep the center of the world going round, and the world has no option than to turn with it. A child that will live long needs no charm. If you doubt me that this will live long, look round, look to your neighbor, and then when I pass, look behind me. As Santamai ebetna hoda, Ghana ebetna hoda, Diopem Swadia Bay ebetna hoda. And as I say, or Mama Kwenja Biwafa say, Missy, Unimitunchia Ubidin Nim, Unimitu Jinanswa, Metuenim. If you say, Asamoa Making, no cray. Mejanum Medani Mechich them one, and Yasambonu, Edinkrahini, Ira, or say, Undipe Sunsum, and then near or dija adasa, and yaman sign. To me, any to me, adie ubi. So when you na bigwa, or bois. Ajinyame, a bofrana me dear, me call. Afisa say, ye besin shia, ye ba, Pimobo. So ye Ghana this year, Pimobo. So your Santa Mind this year, Pimobo. See, we are say it to me who say, ye the adjing, and ye answer it to me, Unima Unyankopon, a saniente. This good matter is yet to be started from the very beginning.
Lilthy, sprightly spiced out. A round of applause for Sasasi. Nana Piao. And with 2 days to Africa Day, let's acknowledge Mr. Jonas Klaas, Deputy EU Ambassador, who is here with us. We've also been joined by the Director of the Seychelles Museum, Madame Julienne Barra. And then we've been joined by Dr. Usman Namba, Ghana, Commission for UNESCO, and Mr. Emmanuel Dorfi, Executive Director of Seychelles Creative Agency. With that said, we call for the remarks by UNESCO to be done by Mr. Edmond Okala.
Thank you. Asante hini Otumfuo Osei Tutu a Otosu mienu. Distinguished members of the Royal Court. That's one I will practice again next time, and I will do it in Twi. Representative of the governments present here and officials, excellencies, members of the diplomatic corps, development partners, donors agencies, our dear elders, honorees who are present here, esteemed dignitaries and guests, artists, diaspora communities, cultural practitioners and associations, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of UNESCO, it is a distinct honor and privilege to to be present at this momentous celebration of creativity, royal leadership, heritage at the launch of the Otumfuo Osei Tutu Art Prize and Endowment Fund. I extend our warmest greetings and heartfelt congratulations to His Majesty, Otumfuo Osei Tutu, for this unique initiative that strengthens the bridge between tradition and modernity, between heritage and innovation, and encourage efforts to prevent the illicit trafficking of cultural artifacts and property. And I think that deserves a round of applause for what the King has been really doing. I also express my deepest gratitude to His Majesty for his visionary leadership in promoting culture, heritage, and the creative arts. A couple of weeks ago, the King and their sentiment on the going home of Nana Osei Bosuntu Mongo Hen. The Otumfuo Osei Tutu Art Prize and Endowment Fund, the first of this kind, stands at the transformative interface between traditional practice and contemporary expression, showcasing how Ghanaian culture continues to evolve while remaining anchored in its rich and diverse roots. Of Ghana highly emphasized during the recent launch of the Black Star Experience, saying, I quote, "Ghana is a nation proud of its history, rich in talent, Africans, cultural and creative renaissance to provide truly a proud Black Star experiences." The prize here today exemplified that leadership. The Mansion Palace, as the heart of the Asante tradition, remains a beacon of living heritage and a powerful reminder of the enduring value of culture in shaping identity, unity, and progress. The Asante Kingdom intangible culture, intangible heritage, show government system, oral history, textile art, name only the few. It is a source of inspiration and a pride not only for Ghana, but for Africa and the rest of the world. So today's, as the event set against the rich legacy of the Asante Kingdom, reinforce our shared belief in culture by recognizing artistic excellence, nurturing the next generation of cultural bearers and creative sustainable pathways for young people, particularly women and youth. We position culture to thrive through the arts, as we will say, indeed, Asante Yo Man. Dear awardees, it is known that you possess unique abilities to capture the essence of words around you. You translate emotion into colors, thoughts into melodies, and dreams into words. You speak the language of the soul, a language that transcends the barriers of time and culture, illuminating both the minds and the souls, weaving together colors, sounds, and emotions that resonate within us all. Through each brushstroke, every note, every word, you have invited us to see the world through your new eyes, to feel the joys and sorrow that life has to offer. In every gallery that display your work, in every concert hall that echo with your music, and in every book that bore your name, you left an indelible mark on our culture and our lives. You are not just creators, but visionaries. You dare to dream and to challenge the norms of society. You understood that art is not merely a reflection of the world, but a catalyst for transformation. Each piece you crafted was a piece of your soul, a glimpse into your innermost thoughts and feelings, a glimpse into your lifetime. Yes, in your lifetime, you have faced challenges, moments of doubt, and the harsh criticisms that often accompany the pursuit of greatness. Yet, you persevered. Your resilience served as an inspiration to us all, reminding us that the path to creativity is often fraught with obstacles. It is not the absence of struggle that defines an artist, but rather the courage to rise above it. So therefore, let us take a moment and acknowledge these communities of artists, this great, as we call it, our old masters, who have shaped the history of art and creativity in Ghana and the world. And if you agree with me, just use the God-created instrument in your hand and let's applaud them as they really deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for joining me to that tribute. These remarkable artists who will forever remain in our hearts, remarkable individuals whose lives stand as a living testament to the power of creativity, passion, and artistry. As we pay tribute to them, let us carry forward their legacy by inspiring future generations who dare to follow in their footsteps. And I'm happy to say that Ghanaian contemporary art, through painting, sculpture, textile, ceramic, digital art, and more, has made remarkable strides on the world stage. From the internationally acclaimed Ghana Freedom Pavilion at the Venice Biennial curated by Nana Ofiarata Ayim, to the global respected platform like Gallery 1957, Nubuke Foundation, Ibrahim Mahama's Red Clay Studio, and Amoako Boafo's Ateliers, Ghana, is a redefining of the boundaries of Africa creativity. The Art Prize launched today, therefore, does more than just reward excellence. It cultivates a generation of living human treasures, such as Agia Ko Nimo in traditional music. It invites young and emerging creatives to become masters of their crafts and contributors to national identity and global artistic discourse. It also promotes dignity through art, and it inspires unity through cultural pride. Thus, our celebration goes beyond the honoring of artistic excellence. It is a powerful reaffirmation that art, culture are central to national development, resilience, and national identity. Today's Art Prize Endowment Fund attests to the foresight of His Majesty in fostering creative excellence, investing in young talent, and sustaining cultural legacies. UNESCO therefore sees this as a model of best practice that can inspire similar initiatives across Africa and beyond. Yes, don't hesitate, please come. UNESCO extends its solidarity to His Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu and applaud his continued role as one of the custodians of Ghana's cultural heritage, commending his foresight in creating an endowment that secures long-term investment in artistic talent. This aligns perfectly with the goals of the UNESCO African Renaissance Vision, which encourage cultural sovereignty, youth employment, and creative economic growth. We therefore urge all stakeholders gathered here today, traditional leaders, policymakers, educators, to rally behind this initiative. To you, the private sector, who are the engines of Ghana's growth, I urge you to pay particular attention to this legacy, since it immortalizes your institution's exceptional and generational contribution to the future of Ghana's artists. UNESCO stands ready to support to partner and to amplify this effort today and into the future. May this art prize and endowment fund inspire and continue to inspire Ghanaian excellence, unity, cultural pride in the years to come. I thank you very much, Madase.
A round of applause one more time for Mr. Edmond Mkwala. Now we pick fraternal greetings from the Executive Director of the Creative Seychelles Agency, Mr. Emmanuel Duffy.
His Majesty Otumfuo Asante Hine, distinguished guests, ambassadors, and members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished artists, laureates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. On behalf of the Seychelles Cultural Institute, it is a pleasure to be in Kumasi again less than 2 months after we signed an MOU with the Palace Museum. This is one of the most progressive and promising for the Indian Ocean Islands as it continues to engage better with the rest of the mainland continent. Our collaboration is in the creative arts and museum management, which explains why a strong delegation from the Seychelles Cultural Institute is present here tonight. When Ivo Adjeman Doué was in Seychelles last year, he purchased some contemporary paintings of women's social mobility in architectural design for this museum. He explained that in the 1890s, women fashion in Seychelles had impact in Kumasi as the Asante Seychellois dressed the same way in the 1930s and 40s. Some of the architectural and landscape scenes of the Asante exile camp was also an interest. The home gardens of some of the Asante returnees, as reflected in the paintings, he told us, were Creole habits from Seychelles and had been cooking spices. We have since brought other paintings and received tons of literary work of Ghana and West Africa for our National Library. The role of history is important in the unfortunate history of slavery we share. The Indian Ocean, one which is not as better known as the transatlantic, though its aftermath of European imperial rule was very much felt. It was the one which ironically underlines our common heritage. Art for art's sake is a popular saying. Art as a commerce is as true as the world is. But we are motivated by what one of your recipients, Atto de la Cuisse, is quoted to have said in this event's brochure. I quote, "The practice of an art is merely a reflection of the life and vision of the artist, if he has been honest with his creation, with his creativity. Therefore, whether he makes a name or not is immaterial. What matters is whether the creativity made him a better person or not." This is profane for us. On our visit last year, we visited the impressive galleries of some of today's recipients. We are strategizing on how we create an avenue for sale of their works within the Western Indian Ocean Islands. The decision of the Menchia Palace Museum to extend an invitation to us and a slot from next year for our best artist as an Asante Hene Arts Award recipient alongside Ghanaians is an opportunity we cherish and we are forever grateful. In the first week of next month, Ivor will be in Seychelles as a visiting scholar in Museum Economics of the National Institute of Culture, Heritage and the Arts. He will lead workshops that would also engage the Central Bank of Seychelles and its museum. It has also been through this Palace Museum that we will benefit from courses by the Fowler Museum of the University of California, Los Angeles, and of the Victoria and Albert Museum. As we look forward to such progressive collaborations, we will want to thank you, the Asante Hene, and the museum's management for your historic sense of sharing. May the journey we have begun, guided by the Asante spirit, continues for years to come. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Kind words from the archipelago of Seychelles in the Indian Ocean. Your hands together for him. We've just been joined by the presidential staff and coordinator of the Black Star Experience, Mr. Rex Omar, musician. Thanks so much for joining us. I will also be joined by the police commander. Thanks so much for joining us as well. We now move on to the next item on the program. We need to move very fast. Remarks by the European Union Ambassador to Ghana, representing His Excellency Achad Razali. The launch of the Endowment Fund is just on the way. Ladies and gentlemen, the European Union Ambassador to Ghana and the rep.
Your Royal Majesty, Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, Honorable Abla Tifa Ngomashi, Minister of Tourism and Creative Arts, the Honorable Ofori Ajiman Boadi, Mayor of Kumasi, UNESCO Country Representative, Mr. Edmond Mukala, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Nananom, ladies and gentlemen. Memamo Adro, good evening. I see a pattern emerging as the night proceeds, so I try my best. Thank you. On behalf of His Excellency, the EU Ambassador Achad Razali, it's my distinct honor to represent the European Union here tonight to celebrate creativity and cultural heritage at the occasion of the inaugural Asante Hene Art Awards. We are indeed truly humbled to answer any opportunity to frequent the Mancha Palace in honor of His Majesty, especially in the company of these incredible artists. The European Union is deeply supportive of initiatives that promote Ghanaian arts. We do more than just technical discussions about trade, political dialogue, or development support. Our delegation truly aims to build greater connections between Europe and the people of Ghana. And in doing this, we take the Sankofa bird as a source of inspiration, nicely illustrated here in the front. It's a bird, as you know, that looks backwards while moving forward. After all, the long-standing partnership between the European Union and Ghana aims to acknowledge and honor its roots as we jointly advance in the future. For the European Union, promotion of arts is expanding for three key reasons. The first is the importance of the preservation of cultural heritage and celebration of diversity. From the Bolga baskets to Asante architecture to the kente that beautifies this entire nation, Ghanaian arts truly illustrate the history and diversity. Secondly, the European Union also promotes the arts as it builds community. I think this should not be underestimated. Art forms like the spoken word, like music, painting, are really essential forms of human expression and inspiration that helps to build bridges between communities, but it also creates mutual understanding and tolerance amongst communities that may differ. And third, the European Union supports the arts because it serves as a mobilization vehicle for young people. I understand we are celebrating the old masters, but one day the old masters were young and they needed to start their careers as well. And I think arts as an industry requires support as well from all of us in order to make sure that young artists can become a part of this wall as well and part of the old masters. I'm sure that the distinguished artists that are in our midst will concur that surviving as an artist really requires not just talent, not just creativity, but also an entrepreneurial spirit and a permissive work environment. And we are pleased that His Highness has contributed to such a good work environment. And at the EU, we are pleased to be building such an environment. These are not just hollow words. We do a lot of initiatives. We have an EU-Africa Fusion Residence Program that convenes different creatives from Europe and West Africa to collaborate in music, fashion, and visual arts. And for the last 3 years, we've proudly supported the Paja Literature Festival, amongst many other initiatives. But today, we're here for a much more profound reason, to honor the legends on this wall. Among us, we celebrate icons like Professor Ablade Glover with impressive canvases, Professor Ato Delakis, pioneer of Ghanaian modernism, visionaries like Kwame Akoto, and all of the others we're celebrating here today. We thank you again, Your Highness, for this laudable initiative and for projecting the Ashanti Kingdom as a continuous center of cultural display. To the organizers, to UNESCO, to its partners, we truly commend you. The EU is deeply grateful to take part. Medase P.
Thanks so much, European Union. We're getting closer and closer to why we're here, to honor these wonderful artists that are amongst us this evening. Now, we call on Mr. Edmond Bukala, UNESCO, and Mr. Ivo Ajimandia to take us through the launch of the Endowment Fund, which will not take a long time at all. After that, we get to the main thing, where we get to honor our heroes and heroines. Your hands together for Mr. Ivo Ajimandia and Mr. Edmond Bukala. The launch of the Endowment Fund.
Good evening again. This is a very simple thing we want to do. To sustain this prize, it was decided, together with the UNESCO, that we will have to have a sustainable plan so that year after year, we don't go running around looking for money that may not come. So UNESCO decided to bring on board a consultant who is very good at doing this, who lives in Benin and was one time with the African Heritage Trust in South Africa. So we've been working with him, and he's been good enough to come all over. And we've also spoken to corporate organizations, individuals within the banking sector, financial institutions and non-financial institutions. And we have a good number of them who are willing to support. So this is basically to let you know that there will be this coming up shortly, and it's not a time for us to tax you with what we want to do. So Mr. Mukala will say a couple of words to support this, and then we sit.
Thank you, Ivo. So it's just really to underline, as he has presented, that one of the elements that we're really looking is to really perpetuate this legacy and to ensure that we make it sustainable. So with the endowment, it makes it more disconnected with search of funds every year. And particularly, it will provide a guarantee for the younger generation for more perpetual means, where this award will now be given to all the various artists that will be outperforming and really participating to this competition. And I will also just take the liberty of introducing, just to present him, if he can just stand up, Mr. Swayubu Avarisu, the former director of Africa World Heritage Fund, who really, he has helped to inscribe more than 20 to 30 World Heritage sites into the World Heritage list for all over Africa, all the 54 countries. Just really to acknowledge that. Thank you.
So, put your hands together for UNESCO and the museum. Now we get to our heroes and heroines for this edition of the awards, the first of its kind. And this name, I heard it when I was in primary school, way back. I've never seen him. I'm like one-on-one before. Professor Abdulade Glover, right? Put your hands together for Professor Abdulade Glover. And then there's another one that's going to be honored today as well. Ato Delaki. Let's see them. And then El Anachi. I remember when we started radio, there was one other guy at Joy FM called Anachi. I think he's connected. Francis Kwateni Owu, Touch of Bronze. Francis Adimola, Lady of the Loom. Ghanaians, when we hear Adimola, our mind goes to football. Now, Peggy Apia, folklore princess, painter, collector, and author. Kwame Akoto, a rebel becomes public artist. And then Melanie Kesasi and SWOPA. The SWOPA is an acronym. Nana Opoku Amponsa Jumfo of Nswasi. And Ghanata College of Art and Design. So these ones have done very, very well, and at the appropriate time, we shall be talking about them and what we have for them as well. For now, we call on Professor Amma de Graft Akins, broadcaster Mr. J.O.T. Ajima. When I saw J.O.T. Ajima, I was like, which of them? And then Ms. Apioko Seram Ashong Abe, a poet, cultural practitioner, and art curator. Now, these three will be on stage to help with the presentation and everything. So let's put our hands together and bring them on stage. Professor Amma de Graft Akins, Mr. J.O.T. Ajimang, and Ms. Apioko Seram Ashong Abe. Round of applause.
Your Royal Highness, Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, Nananum, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be asked to give citations to 4 of the 10 featured artists today. I will start with Professor Ablade Glover. Professor Ablade Glover, artist, educator, cultural icon, was born in 1934 in Accra. He's credited and renowned as a major pioneer in the development of contemporary African art. He received his undergraduate training in art from the Kumasi College of Technology, now Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST. He received further training at the Central School of Art and Design in London, completed a master's degree in art education from the University of Newcastle upon Tyne, then obtained a doctorate in art education from Kent State University in the United States. His studies abroad have a fascinating origin story. When he received an admission offer from the Central School of Art and Design in London, it didn't come with a scholarship. So he decided to raise his own funding by producing and selling new paintings. W.E.B. Du Bois, the eminent African-American sociologist and pioneering theorist of Black Atlantic studies, and his wife, Shirley Du Bois, lived in Ghana at the time, having been personally invited by President Nkrumah to resettle in Ghana. Mrs. Du Bois was the director of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation and also an art patron who supported local artists by organizing private viewings and exhibitions. She facilitated an exhibition of Glover's new paintings to critical and commercial success. She then discussed Glover with President Nkrumah, urging the president to support the young, gifted artist, and followed through by facilitating a meeting with the 2 gentlemen. Her advocacy worked. Nkrumah's cabinet approved a scholarship for the young artist to undertake graduate training in the UK. This set off his graduate training journey in the UK and the US. After his PhD, Glover returned to Ghana and took on an academic position at KNUST. He dedicated many years to teaching and nurturing young artists at KNUST, where he later became head of Department of Art Education and eventually the Dean of the College of Art. His commitment to education and mentoring played and continues to play a pivotal role in shaping Ghana's contemporary art landscape. Beyond academia, Professor Glover is best known for his bold, textured paintings that depict bustling urban scenes, such as transport yards and vibrant marketplaces, including market queens. His unique style, characterized by rich colors and impasto techniques, captures the energy and dynamism of African urban life. In 1993, Professor Glover founded the Artists Alliance Gallery in Accra in the purpose-built Omanye House, named after his mother. Omanye House showcases contemporary and traditional indigenous African arts over 3 floors, and it provides a platform for emerging and established artists. The gallery was inaugurated by the former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, and it's earned Glover numerous accolades, including Ghana's highest Republic Order of the Volta. Professor Glover's works are found in renowned collections across the world, including the British Museum, the Smithsonian in DC, UNESCO headquarters in Paris. He's shown his work in solo and group exhibitions in major art cities in Africa, Europe, North America, the Middle East, and worldwide. He's a lifetime fellow of the Royal Society of Arts in London, a fellow of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. He's been honored in 2 global arts lists, Who's Who in the World Dictionary of Contemporary International Artists, and Who's Who in Art and Antiques. Now in his 90s, in a very vibrant 90s, Professor Glover remains active in the art scene, creating masterpieces and mentoring young artists. Ever the teacher, mentor, elder statesman of the arts, he collects art of others, especially pieces produced by his former students. Professor Glover. The second artist I've been honored to give a citation for is Professor Ato Delaki. So Professor Ato Delaki was born in Cape Coast in 1945 and is a celebrated contemporary artist known for his expressive paintings speaking to historical themes, such as the Sahelian horsemen and their adventures as wandering traders in the 17th century. For decades, he taught at the College of Art, KNUST, and was the last dean before the college was renamed the College of Art and Built Environment. He retired as an associate professor and dean emeritus of the college. Professor Delaki attended Achimota School in Accra, where his artistic talent flourished. He studied design in Paris and then returned to Ghana to KNUST, where in 1971, he obtained a BFA first class honors in painting, drawing, and printmaking. He completed and received an MFA, Masters in Fine Arts, from the Tyler School of Art, Temple University in 1975. Delaki's art is inspired by his childhood and youth in Cape Coast, where he was fascinated by horsemen, as well as comics featuring cowboys and native Indians. His most iconic theme, Sahelian horsemen, for example, springs from these youthful preoccupations. His paintings, to quote a previous biographical note, vividly capture the elegance, motion, and cultural significance of these figures, often set against expansive landscapes in rich blue, red, ochre, and earthy tones. Between 1966 and 2016, Delaki's work has been shown in over 100 exhibitions in galleries around the world. He has won numerous awards, including the Leipzig International Graphic Arts Exhibition, bronze, the ECRAG Award for Outstanding Contributions to Development of African Culture. He's also held academic visiting positions in the US in 2 universities. Some of his notable works include Blue Horsemen of the South Sahel, a striking portrayal of mounted warriors in motion, Northern Lancers, which emphasizes the warrior spirit of the Sahel, and The Descent of the Golden Stool, inspired by the Asante legend symbolizing unity and strength. His murals decorated the Rothmans International House, the National Parliament of Ghana, and Kwame Nkrumah's Young Pioneers Building, which was destroyed in 1962. Professor Delaki is an avowed Pan-Africanist and anti-colonialist. His paintings trace deep connections to African histories and identities. He also writes on these themes in journals and essay anthologies, for example, Art and Nonsense in Relation to the African Condition, and Why African Artists Should Also Write. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Ato Delaki. Next artist is Professor L. Anachui. Professor Anachui is one of the most exciting international contemporaries of our time. His career as a sculptor and professor of sculpture at University of Nigeria in Nsukka spans over 50 years. His art addresses a vast range of social, political, and historical concerns and embraces an equally diverse range of media and processes, with a central theme of finding and binding discarded objects into transcendent messages. His installations have attracted wide and reverent international attention, with audiences fascinated by what one critic described as sumptuous, mesmerizing works made from thousands of aluminum bottle tops. During the Venice Biennale in 2007, he transformed the facade of the Palazzo Fortuny by draping it in a shimmering wall sculpture. As part of the 2012 Paris Triennale, he decorated the entire facade of the Le Palais Galleria with his striking work called Broken Bridge. In 2013, his monumental work, Chia Chia, Searching for Connection, covered the entire facade of the Royal Academy of Arts building in London. El Anachwi has exhibited globally. His works are in over 40 museums, public galleries, and private collections. These include the British Museum and Tate Modern, London, the Pompidou Center in Paris, the De Young Museum in San Francisco, US, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art, New York. He's a recipient of numerous prestigious awards. He received the Prince Claus Award in 2009. The Royal Academy of Arts presented him with the prestigious Charles Wollaston Award for his aforementioned work, Chia Chia. In 2014, he was made an honorary Royal Academician. He was awarded the Golden Lion in 2015 at the 56th Venice Biennale for lifetime achievement. He's also received honorary doctorates from Harvard, KNUST, Bard College, and in 2023, he was voted in Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential People. Professor El Anachwi now splits his time traveling the world, speaking engagements, and working in his studio, which he recently built in Tema, Accra's twin city. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor El Anachwi. My final artist. Francis Kwate Ni-O. Francis Kwate Ni-O, a renowned Ghanaian sculptor and artist, was born in 1942 in Brazil House, Jamestown, Accra. He came from a family of artists. His father, John Ni-O, and his mother, Lucy Saki Hammond, provided a nurturing environment that fueled his passion for creativity. Ni-O's educational journey began at Opokuwari Secondary School in Kumasi and Ganata Secondary School in Dodoa. In 1966, he enrolled at the College of Art, University of Science and Technology, Kumasi. He migrated to the UK in 1968, where he continued at Putney College of Art in London. He then enrolled at the London Film School, where he graduated in film direction. In the 1970s, while he was trying to find his niche in the arts, he formed an alliance with a globally celebrated South African sculptor, Giovanni Schumann. Encouraged by Schumann, Ni-O experimented with various media, such as industrial materials, chemicals, and metal powders, and eventually developed his own unique cold casting technique. This technique involved the use of bronze, brass, copper, aluminum, gold, silver, and other metals, casting designs of freestanding and wall relief handmade sculptures and finishing them to a very high standard. In 1973, Ni-O curated his first exhibition with a small collection of sculptures at the Commonwealth Institute in Kensington, London. The impact and response of this exhibition encouraged him to carry on in the gold casting technique, to which to date has accrued a collection of over 1,000 designs. Over the decades, Ni-O has participated in numerous international exhibitions and has commissioned for prestigious projects. One of his most notable commissions came from the BBC in 1981, where he designed reliefs for the BBC's state-of-the-art lifts at Bush House in London. He also designed the coat of arms for the Bahamas Embassy in London in 1982. In 1990, he spent time in Japan, where he worked alongside Japanese sculptor Kuma-san. Returning to Ghana in 1993, after 24 years abroad, he focused on sharing his knowledge and building an international standard art gallery and studio workshop in Accra. Ni-O's notable works include statues of Nana Amonu Kantamanto IV, Dr. Kwejiru Agri, and George Ekem Ferguson, as well as the piece design for the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center in Accra. He has also created busts of all the presidents of Ghana, from Kwame Nkrumah to John Dramani Mahama. Niowu is passionate about architecture, building, and interior design. He remains dedicated to preserving Ghanaian and African heritage through art. His legacy is one of artistic excellence and cultural preservation. Ladies and gentlemen, Francis Kwate Niowu.
Your Majesty, please permit me to continue with the citations. Frances Ademola. She was born in July 1928 with the maiden name Frances Kwasi-Aiden, daughter of the eminent Gold Coast lawyer and jurist Samuel Okai Kwasi-Aiden. She partly grew up in Edum Kejetia in Kumasi and has fond memories of some members of the royal household who were her friends. She personally knew His Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, Alex Atta Yao Chermantin, and others like Paul Boateng. This was at a time when her father had become the first president of the Ashanti Cultural Society and was one of the pillars behind the establishment of the Ashanti Cultural Center, later the Ghana National Cultural Center. After studying at government girls' schools in Accra from 1932 to 1939, she continued to Achimota School from 1939 to 1944, from where she went to the private boarding school at West Point School in Gloucestershire, England, and then to the University of Exeter at the age of 21. It was in this period that she became a fascinating sitter of good looks and was painted by the distinguished British painter and watercolorist William Reed, which painting formed part of an exhibition at the elite Royal Society of Portrait Painters at Piccadilly in London. Other photos of her, which would pass today as fashion, were by the London's National Portrait Gallery. Between the periods that her father served as Chief Justice of the High Court of Western Nigeria in 1960 and as the President of the Court of Appeal in East Africa in 1964, Ademola was also living in Nigeria. She got married to Adenikan Ademola, son of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Adetukuntu Ademola. This was after working at the Gold Coast Broadcasting System, now GBC, from 1954 to 1956, before moving to the Nigeria Broadcasting Corporation from 1958 to 1960, and then to the western region of that country from 1960 to 1963. It was at the NBC that she worked with the distinguished Nigerian author of Things Fall Apart, Chinua Achebe, as his production assistant. She saw not just the making of the bestseller book, but others like No Longer at Ease and The Arrow of God. It was not only Achebe, though, as she immersed herself in Nigerian literature and visual arts. She also worked closely with future Nobel laureates Wole Soyinka, the poets J.P. Clark, and Christopher Akigbo. Frances Ademola was the editor of the first anthology of post-colonial Nigerian writings, Reflections, Nigerian Prose and Verse, 1962, which published these distinguished writers. In an anthology of contemporary short stories, The Gods Who Send Us Gifts in 2017, to mark the 55th anniversary of the famous Makerere Conference on African Literature, which was edited by Ivo Ajimandua, Wole Soyinka, in a foreword, recounted what happened in 1962 on their way to the famous conference. Passing through customs, a Congolese soldier barked an order at Frances Ademola in French, which nobody could possibly understand. When she continued on her way, the soldier pushed her roughly. What followed was a minor fracas, but you don't shove members of a Nigerian delegation, and a woman at that. The Congolese had a mean reputation. Christopher Akigbo, J.P. Clark, and I got physical. It was after Ademola's return to Ghana 12 years later that she founded the first gallery, The Loom, in the center of Accra at Kwame Nkrumah Circle, which gallery sold the artworks of over 100 artists, including Abladi Glover, Atu Delaki, and Larry Otu, who would go ahead to distinguish themselves. The loom came into being because she realized that apart from the famous sculptor Kofi Atubam of Achimota School, the musician Ifrimamo, and the philosopher J.B. Dankwa, and a small group, the Ghanaian cultural landscape was not as big as that of Nigeria and not as exciting. Ademola also devoted time to public policy and served as board chairwoman of the Ghana Library Board, Ethics Committee of the Ghana Institute of Journalism, and Accra Red Church Council. At 97 years of age, she has received the Order of the Volta from the Republic of Ghana from President Jerry John Rawlings, among other awards. Ladies and gentlemen, Frances Ademola. Peggy Appiah, folklore princess, painter, collector, and author. Peggy Appiah was a daughter of the British aristocrat and cabinet minister of the Exchequer, or Minister of Finance of the United Kingdom, Sir Stafford Cripps, and Lady Cripps. Appiah's grand auntie, in a sense, was the economist Beatrice Webb, co-founder with Sidney Webb of the London School of Economics and the Fabian Society. Her great-grandfather was Charles Cripps, the Right Honourable Lord Parmore, first Baron Parmore and leader of the House of Lords. Her marriage to the Ghanaian lawyer and statesman, Joe Appiah, became a sensational Western media engagement, which influenced, some say, the production of the 1967 Hollywood comedy drama, Guess Who Is Coming to Dinner. After marriage, and when the couple located to Kumasi in 1954, Peggy Appiah took great interest in the social and cultural life of Ashanti, and from their residence in the former colonial estate of African Bungalow, she immersed herself into the activities of the people, including Sir Osei Prempeh II, Otumfuo Pukuwari II, and Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. And other cultural avant-gardes such as Samuel Kwashe Aidan and Alex Atayao Tremantin, who were trained classicists and anthropologists from Cambridge, respectively. It was on this basis that her training in art history and painting became visible. She had studied painting in Florence in Italy, but more so under the influential English painter Karel Waite, a professor at the Royal College of Art in London, and the Polish-British artist Felix Topolsky, who was one of the official wartime artists for the British monarchy. This was after declining an offer to study at the University of Edinburgh at the outbreak of World War II, as she and her family traveled around the world with her diplomat father to Jamaica, China, Russia, India, and Iran. She would not only paint scenes of Kumasi in the 50s and 60s, but traveled around the Gold Coast and ran charities, especially for the underclass. She collected Asante gold weights, which were used as currency in the 17th century, becoming the biggest collector in living memory. This was at a time when her husband, Joe Appiah, a former roommate of Ghana's first Prime Minister, Kwame Nkrumah, in London, got into politics, became president of the Bar Association, and suffered imprisonment. Auntie Peggy, as she was called by many in Kumasi, published over 20 folklore, fiction, and poetry. They included Anansi the Spider, Tales from an Ashanti Village in 1966, and followed by Tales of an Ashanti Father. Others were The Children of Anansi in 1968, The Pineapple Child, and Other Tales from Ashanti in 1969, Why There Are So Many Roads in 1972, and Why the Hyena Does Not Care for Fish, and Other Tales from the Ashanti in 1977. She also published a series to help Ghanaian children learn English: The Lost Earring, Yao and the Python, Abna and the Python, Ifwa and the Mouse, and Kofi and the Crow, as well as a series of novels for children and adults, including Gifts of the Motia, and Ring of Gold, and 2 volumes of poetry. Some of these are set texts in primary and secondary schools in West Africa. Perhaps her most well-known book, which she worked on for 5 decades, was Bumebe, Proverbs of the Akan, a collection of more than 7,000 key proverbs that was launched in Accra in 2001 by the Ghanaian playwright Amar Taidu and the musicologist J.H. Kwabena Nketia. Auntie Peggy was awarded the MBE by Queen Elizabeth II for her promotion of Anglo-Asante relations and an honorary doctorate degree from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. She died at 84 in 2006 and was buried next to her late husband in Kumasi on her wishes. She is survived by 4 children, the distinguished world philosopher Kwame Anthony Appiah, the landscape architect Adjoa Appiah Eden, the economist Ama Appiah Anderson, and businesswoman Abna Appiah. Ladies and gentlemen, Peggy Appiah. Kwame Akoto, a rebel becomes public artist. Kwame Akoto was born on November 25, 1950, in Ashanti New Town, Kumasi. He hails from Ntonso, a town known for its rich artistic heritage. His father, Openyin Kojo Apau, was an auto mechanic, and his mother, Madame Sarah Pipim, worked as a hairdresser. His maternal lineage is deeply rooted in leadership, as his grandfather, Oheniba Kweku Pipim, was the late chief of Ankasi. Originally named Anthony Kwame Akoto, he later chose to go by the name Kwame Akoto. At the age of 6, Kwame began his primary education at Ntonso SDA School and continued at Brahma LA School, where his passion for art became evident. Even as a young student, he was drawn to drawing and painting, often replicating movie posters he saw outside cinema theaters. After completing middle school, Kwame decided to pursue an apprenticeship in artwork rather than follow in his father's footsteps as a mechanic. He trained under 2 accomplished artists, Mr. Adai and Mr. Kobia, in Imrum, Kumasi. Mr. Adai was renowned for his expertise in hand lettering, whilst Mr. Kobia excelled in painting images. Kwame's father, however, was not pleased with his decision. He wanted his son to work under him as a mechanic and receive free training instead of paying fees to learn art. Determined to follow his dreams, Kwame took a bold step in 1965. One day, his father's driver brought home some money from his car sales, amounting to £2. Kwame, without informing his father, decided to use it to pay his apprenticeship. Enlisting the help of a lady from his house to pose as his elder sister, he successfully secured his place in the workshop. His father later sent 2 of his siblings to retrieve the money, but they returned with news that Kwame had already begun the training. Initially unhappy, his father soon began hearing glowing reports about Kwame's exceptional talent and hard work. Recognizing his son's potential, he eventually embraced his choice, even supporting him financially with pocket money to ensure he could focus on mastering his craft. After 5 years of training, Kwame became a master artist in 1969. Following his qualification, his father secured a place for him near Swami Methodist Church, close to the Kumasi Cooperative Motor Repair, which later became the National Vocational Training Institute and is now Swami Technical Institute. Kwame named his workshop Anthony Art Works, but a fellow artist with an existing workshop called King Anthony Artworks objected, fearing competition. Kwame changed the name to Almighty God Artworks, a decision that led to greater success. Interestingly, his competitor later changed his workshop's name to Mighty Jehovah Artworks. Over time, Kwame moved his workshop to different locations due to various challenges, including road expansions and professional rivalries. Despite this, his work gained international recognition, with pieces displayed in prestigious museums such as the Brooklyn Museum and the Fowler Museum in the United States. Beyond his artistic achievements, he has significantly contributed to road safety campaigns in Ghana. He has also trained individuals, both Ghanaians and foreigners, passing on his knowledge and skills to future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kwame Akoto.
Your Royal Highness, with your permission, I'd like to continue the last 3 citations for our awardees of the evening. Melanie Kasise and Sopa. Melanie Kasise is a retired educationist with a passion for the preservation of cultural heritage and women empowerment in her community of Sirugu in the Upper East region of Ghana. This led her in 1997 to establish the Sirugu Women's Organization for Pottery and Art, otherwise known as SOPA, which focuses on old traditions and wall painting, taking her as a guest speaker to international organizations in parts of the world, including the United Nations, after the former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan and his artist wife, Nan, paid a visit to the community. Sopa was deeply rooted in her family traditions as she was able to go to school because her mother, in whose memory she set up the organization, used these very art forms as economic tools to support her family. SOPA started with 54 women, and what a start it was. The vision of empowering local women with these traditional art forms. Over the years, it has grown into a thriving collective of nearly 500 members. It grew as a result of the leadership she provided and international collaborations in facilitating workshops, training, financial empowerment, and public exhibitions. It serves in addition as a tourist attraction for guests who could lodge at its traditional guest homes. SOPA has helped to preserve traditional crafts that might have otherwise been lost to modernity, fostering a sense of pride and cultural identity in the community. Through SOPA, Madam Kasise has not only honored her mother's legacy, but has also become a symbol of resilience, creativity, and the power of women to transform their lives and their communities. Her unwavering commitment to preserving the past while empowering the future has made her a revered figure both locally and globally. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Melanie Kasise and Sopa. Nana Opoku Amponsa Otumfuo of Nsawase. Born on 1st October 1959 at Nsawase in the Asante-Hene's Achiamhene Palace in Kumasi, Nana Opoku Amponsa Otumfuo's lineage is deeply rooted in royal service of goldsmithery. Son of Ekuya Anane of Apeman near Daban Kumasi and Openyi Kwejo Amankwa of Adankwame, his father was a skilled goldsmith, and his grandfather served with honor as the Otumfuo Achiamhene's, the king chief's linguist, a role great prestige brought to the cultural importance in the Asante Kingdom. Nana Opoku began his formal education in 1966 at St. Peter's Roman Catholic School in Bumpata, Kumasi, after which his father, recognizing the value of vocational training, arranged for him to learn goldsmithing under the mentorship of Openyi Kwekuba. To ensure focus and discipline, Nana Opoku was moved from his grandfather's house to live with his master. His master later traveled to Liberia, leaving him to continue his training under the tutelage of Openyi Kwame Dwabin. However, over time, Nana Opoku realized his expressed interest in auto mechanics. With his father's support, he transitioned to train in Peugeot repair motors in Kumasi, and he became a commercial driver. While at that, and following the passing of his uncle, the then Otumfuo Bromhene, the elders of his family and community decided without his prior knowledge to nominate him as his uncle's successor. They were led by the Asafo, a chief stool carrier at Asafo, and he was eventually informed of the unanimous decision as the next Otumfuo's Bromuhini. Nana Opoku accepted the responsibility, and on 5th March 1990, he was officially sworn in, pledging his service and loyalty to the Asantehene. In his role, Nana Opoku worked closely with the Otumfuo Hene, bringing his craftsmanship and traditional knowledge into the service of the kingdom in which we are sitting this evening. Drawing on his background of goldsmithing and being a goldsmith's son, he has designed many remarkable pieces of jewelry for past Asantehenes and most notably for the current Asantehene, contributing significantly to the preservation and elegance of royal heritage. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished you are, Nana Opoku Amponsa Otumfuo of Nsoase. Now, this is not an individual. It's the Ganata College of Art and Design. Ghana's old masters goes beyond the elegance of these great artists and others who are not covered in this edition of the awards, to academic art training and professional training, and at least, definitely not the least, is the Ganata College of Art and Design. We must award them tonight. It was founded by the leading cartoonist Yao Boachi in 1969 in Accra. The college provided a huge outlet for those who did not find themselves in mainstream secondary schools' art departments and could not therefore continue studies at the tertiary or the university level. Ganata was, however, afflicted with many administrative and licentiate challenges, including with the Ghana Education Service, which never gave it the license to operate. And in 2014, there was a decisive break when it was closed down. Meanwhile, Ganata had turned out alumni of distinguished artistry. If the diploma in art it promised to give never got given, and instead it was a certificate, it is still a well-known college and deserves to be celebrated. Some of the works of the alumni of Ganata hang in public places and institutions in Ghana and are sold at well-known galleries such as the Artists Alliance in La Accra, with one of the interesting murals that is hanging in Abladi Glover's office by an alumnus of the Ganata College. Nubuka Foundation, the 1957 gallery also in Accra, and international galleries in Dubai, of the United Arab Emirates, London, and other European capitals. Some of the contemporary artists winning awards in Ghana, those long and shortlisted for prizes all over the world, include some of Ganata's alumni. The New Perspectives, Contemporary Art from Ghana, a new book that categorizes and catalogs contemporary artists and their work. It discusses eminent artists, including the college, such as Kwesi Owusu Ankoma, who studied between 1971 to 1974 at Ganata and would become a well-known artist in Germany. Between 2012 and 2014, after which the college was closed down, at least 12 graduates from the two-year streams had gone on to become national and international artists. They had also sought validation from other non-Ghanaian institutions of their talents. And I'll name some of the artists. Ishak Ismail, who does paintings and has been exhibiting around Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. Anwaku Boafo, 2017 Jury Prize at Walter Koskatsky Art Prize and the Strabag Art Award awardee. Serge Atukwe Clote, who later studied at the University of Art in Brazil, Gringard, and at a young age received an honorary doctorate from the University of Brighton in the UK with exhibitions all around the world. Otis Kwame Kwaku held residence in Los Angeles and exhibited Robert Project's gallery in 2020, attracting Vanity Fair, Art News, and Art Forum, amongst many others. Kwesi Botre, with new and well-known innovative color painting, attended Ganata. Cornelius Ano and others such as Anan Afrote, Foster Sechiama, Lord Ohene Otreboa, What some of this group of under 40-year-old artists have strived to do in different ways have been to redefine what art is and who can become and who became who they are without standing in front of the obstacles that wanted to stand in their way. The academic art and practical art of the derogatory label, exhibitionist, which was once used to refer to great painters, but also academics like Ablade Glover, who is here tonight and is an awardee. This work that Ganata did made it redundant. The best art critique and its appreciation could also be better done with open minds of the artist's circumstance and his or her right to what they want to be. And Ganata stands for that. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Ganata College of Art and Design.
Thanks so much, Professor Amma de Graaf Takins, Mr. J.O.T. Ajaman, and Mr. Pioko Seram Ashong Abe. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the real deal, the highlights of tonight's program. And like Aristotle said, the aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but the inward significance. The king is here to show the inward significance of what he stands for by awarding these great personalities that we've mentioned and eulogized at this point. Put your hands together as we get ready for the climax of this event. But before that, one song from our folklore, Eja Konimos Band. So now, when you hear your name, okay. First recipient, Ablade Glover, a painter with childlike curiosity. First recipient of the award. When you hear your name, you come and pick your award. Please put your hands together for Professor Ablade Glover. Yeah, please. That handshake is very, very important and is full of blessing. Next recipient, Atu Delaki, Renaissance artist. Atu Delaki, Renaissance artist. And Uncle Atu is closely followed by El Anachu, prodigious installation artist. El Anachu. Next in line, Francis Kwete Ni Owu, Touch of Bronze. Francis Kwete Ni Owu, Touch of Bronze. Then we have Francis Ademola, Lady of the Loom. Francis Ademola, Lady of the Loom. Right after that, we have Peggy Appiah. Peggy Appiah, folklore princess painter, collector, and author. Peggy Appiah. Yeah. Next is Kwame Akoto, a rebel becomes public artist. Kwame Akoto, a rebel becomes public artist. And then Melanie Kasise and Swopa. The Swopa is an acronym. Melanie Kasise and Swopa. Melanie Kasise and Swopa. As a surprise for the king, artwork. Now, Nana Opoku Amponsa Jumfo of Nsuasi. Nana Opoku Amponsa Jumfo Nsuasi. And the last, but not the least, Ghanata College of Art and Design. Now, if you picked an award, it means you have to come for that last photograph, all of you, those who picked the award. But Ghanata College of Art and Design are coming for the award now. Ghanata College of Art. And when they finish picking the award, all the recipients, you pick that last, or you take the last photograph for His Royal Majesty. That rare photograph is important for the sweat and the hard work. So if you picked an award, please join Ghanata and the rest of them for the photograph with His Majesty, and then he will come for his, he will deliver his message. But also, the award, Nibia, no money or picture, last one, just once, and then that's it. So all of you, I mean, those who picked the award, Ablade Glover, Arthur Dike, L, Anachi, Francis Kote, Francis Ademola, Peggy Appiah, Kwame Akoto, Melanie Kasise, Nana Opoku Amponsa, and Ghanata College. This group picture is very, very important. So after this group picture, His Majesty will make his way to the podium for his address. UNESCO, can you please join the photograph for us? Yeah. Thanks so much for the support. You've done so well. Okay, so right after this, His Majesty comes up to the podium to deliver his address. And that brings us almost to the tail end of the program. So let's welcome His Majesty onto the dais to deliver his address. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, A round of applause for His Majesty as he delivers his short remark for what we've done today, or what has been done today.
Wasaji fogu nyagwasi okra santina dwe kasangen. Wasaji fogu nyagwasi okra santina dwe kasangen. Kotokwanyine kase krobianyine kasangen. Kotokwanyine kase krobianyine kasangen. Me ma ukrobia irifia ngumani kotokunyen. Me ma ukrobia irifia ngumani kotokunyen. Asantie chantilo chumo champon nufunyen. Asantie chantilo chumo champon nufunyen. Asantie siesiebo sumentitiye. Asantie siesiebo sumentitiye. Krobia santina dwe kasangen. Krobia santina dwe kasangen. Ose chiche mimodini awisio. Ose chiche modini awisio. Wany nebenya sejuso supanyine kwaba kuma sikapo banwo. Wany nebenya sejuso uspanine kwaba kuma sikapo banwo. Obinya sebia nko baby. Obinya sebia nko baby. Menu atedi feba demrefe kasangen. Menu atedi feba demrefe kasangen. Chewani ntofu moje nungen. Chewani ntofu moje nungen. Odofo dadi ochumo champon nufungen. Odofo dadi ochumo champon nufungen. Wo so ni kroyo sumentitiye. Wo so ni kroyo sumentitiye. Eja kwe jale na adia se dingen. Eja kwe jale na adia se dingen. Ekusibio kumblo chumo champon nufungen. Ekusibio kumblo chumo champon nufungen. Eja kwe jale na adia se dingen. Eja kwe jale na adia se dingen. Ekusibio kumblo chumo champon nufungen. Ekusibio kumblo chumo champon nufungen. Osei Tutu mimo dini awisio. Osei Tutu mo dini awisio. Wone namusuma enkabo mpuntu ne nkosoba Ghana ni asantimemu. Wone namusuma enkabo mpuntu ne nkosoba Ghana ni asantimemu. Obinya sebia nko baby. Obinya sebia nko baby. Blagwa bakana ne from no dem ferris. Blagwa bakana ne from po dem ferris. Me ma jabendo ada koya dunyen. Me ma jabendo ada koya dunyen. Ya dom na ne dia kuboje ta touch mo champon funyen. Ya dom na ne dia kuboje ta touch mo champon funyen. O to sika samai na ija kunyen. O to sika samai na du ja kunyen. Ja kwe bo ban krojum fro. Ja kwe bo ban krojum fro. Ina free from no dem fa o. Free from po demi fa o. Wasaji fogu nyagwasinyen. Wasaji fogu nyagwasinyen. Wo kura santina dwe kasanyen. Wo kura santina dwe kasanyen. Wo kubedia tobaba dumi fa gunyagwasa jumla chemera. Wo ni pebe tabo ni abo chimo champon funyen. Wo ni pebe kumya bo dia dwanwa o.
Congratulate all the awardees tonight. It's been an honor to have you here, and it was my wish that this came to be. So all those who were chosen were people that I thought were worthy of this award. So I thank you very much for coming. Art, as we know it, played a critical and functional role in the formation of societies among virtually all the ethnic groups in Ghana from pre-colonial times through the cultural imperialism that followed and our attempts at nationhood from 1957. Our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, used it to unify this country and supported some of the great artists we came to know and who defined visually for us the symbols of our new independence. He attempted to create an African personality through different aspects of our varying cultures. Whilst we have not perfected this process, we have largely succeeded. Our coming together this evening and the people who have collectively accepted as elders who led the art movement have shown the world what we can individually and collectively achieve. The future we want for our children and grandchildren cannot be an ideal one if we forget the visual meanings of ourselves and the many societies that form our nationhood. Since the British Museum and the Victoria Albert Museums returned the 1874 and 1897 Asante objects looted after the war, I understand that the visitation numbers of the Menchia Palace Museum have gone up among the children and students who travel from all parts of the country to visit. The same has been with adult and foreign visitation numbers. Occasionally, I do engage these school children in conversations when they come. And they do so as Christians and Muslims from all the ethnic groups of northern Ghana through Volta to the coastal regions. I talk to them about respect for cultural diversity, and they in turn ask me intriguing questions. They use ours instead of yours. And some tell me they aspire to be great artists, as some of our to use their West ancestors who produced these looted and returned objects that we have. It had been these ancient traditions that the recipients of today inherited and for which we partly owe our creative ethos as guardians. It was also because of this that from May 1st, the management of the museum decided to give a complimentary lunch pack to all the 4,000 children who visit. There have been commendations from other stakeholders, especially development cooperation partners, of such little gestures. If a common national heritage will come out of diversities, it will be then that we will be perfecting our nationhood. And when we do, these distinguished artists will forever be remembered. You do not need to be of different ethnic group or geographic part of this country to acknowledge them. Long before I gained my current status, I knew them, not because they were coming to the palace to meet my uncle, Premper II, and brother Opokware, but their works spoke to all of us. Niowu, Ablede Glover, Ato Delaki, and all the people who have received these ones, we knew them before. Mrs. Adimola at the Loom, when I first came from London and established an office there in 1988, she was selling, she had an art gallery. As the museum director intimated, my wife and I are private collectors of some of their works. And I know she wanted to be here to talk to Atu and then Ablade Glover, and then Ni, you know, she's been chasing you for so many things because unfortunately, she's in Accra now, but I know that she's watching us and she's going to talk to you again on these things. I'm happy to see you in your glorious ages and can only wish them God's many more blessings. And I wish that the wisdom that you have in the creative arts will still continue for us and you bequeath it to the young ones also. I therefore stand here on behalf of you who are here, and if I may be permitted, other compatriots, for our mutual appreciation of our common goal and of one nation, one people, for the arts that they've created for us. I thank you all very much this evening for coming here. Thank you.
Zoom.
Piao. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for His Majesty the King. This is how 21st century leadership looks like. Put your hands together for His Majesty. And I've lost count of the number of awards he's giving out this year. What I was telling myself behind the speakers was, when are we also going to reward our Majesty? Not only with the clapping, but by supporting whatever he's doing, his vision and everything. Put your hands together for him, and let's follow up in the right way. He's leading by example. Let's support him. Now it's time to do the Thanksgiving. But before we do that, please remember to pick a copy of this brochure I have in front of me so that you get to know whatever was done today. We have one at the forecourt of the building. So make sure that you pick a copy before you go home. What is going to happen is that after the Thanksgiving, His Majesty and the awardees will be going into the exhibition room right at the forecourt, and they will introduce him to their works. And then after that, we also get a chance to go see what he did.